There are a lot of things that I love about Dead Rising 2, but there are a lot of things I hate about Dead Rising 2, but the loves just barely outnumber the hates and narrowly secure this game a place in my top 10. As awful as those psychopaths can be, as tiresome as the legwork of item management can get, I'll never get bored of slaughtering zombies wholesale with weapons improvised from construction equipment and gardening tools. The return of Dead Rising's quirky leveling mechanics and utterly bizarre sense of humor made me glad to play this sequel, warts and all. Heavy Rain is one of those games I want to recognize for its ambitions to push the boundaries of its medium as much as for its success as an entertaining video game. Even if actually playing the game amounted to just button-tapping my way through one QuickTime event after another, no other game so thoroughly wrapped me up in its narrative web and made me really care about what was going to happen to its characters. And as much as I enjoyed wending my way through my version of Heavy Rain, I loved hearing about how the particulars of the storyline changed for other players too. Remedy's forever in development supernatural shooter does the best creepy forests and the best Twin Peaks impression of any game ever. I loved the TV-style episodic format that let the writers play with the rise and fall of the action and really build up some great dramatic tension as Alan Wake's plight unfolded. The gunplay had a solid weight to it that made it satisfying through the end of the game, and how many other games can you think of that can make a flashlight feel like such a powerful weapon? No other game this year did as much with as little as Enslaved did. The game has all of like 3 speaking characters, but it brings those 3 characters to life more believably than any other game I can think of, with nuanced performances and real emotional heft driving their simple but harrowing journey across the wasteland. It doesn't hurt that Enslaved balances some really solid melee and shooting combat, and is punctuated with some of the most impressive action set pieces of the year. Alright, leave it to Criterion to get me playing and loving a Need for Speed game, since before Hot Pursuit I could barely make my way around a tight turn at 60 miles an hour. The driving and the sense of speed are great, of course, but it's the really great weapons and car combat that just push the action over the top. The tightly integrated leveling mechanics and the pervasive competitive features with your friends make Hot Pursuit feel like a modern online game and keep it endlessly entertaining. You know what? It makes me angry that Super Meat Boy is even on this list. Super Meat Boy hates me, but I can't help loving him and his awful, horrible, no good, very hard platforming anyway. It's simultaneously the hardest and most rewarding game of the year, and it's only because the controls are so damn precise and the levels are like 20 seconds long that you just can't stop coming back for more sweet, sweet punishment. Also, Dr. Fetus. BioWare went and turned Mass Effect 2 into pretty much exactly what I wanted the first game to be, a sprawling space epic with a nose for hard science fiction and an itchy trigger finger that brought about faster, more streamlined combat. The action may have been harder hitting, but that didn't stop me from also spending dozens of hours locked in grueling conversations with the galaxy's wild menagerie of alien residents. The game left me with nothing more than a burning desire to play Mass Effect 3 as soon as possible. Limbo feels like the great unifier between the highfalutin games as art crowd and then people who just really want to play a fun, satisfying, demanding action game. It's got the most cohesive visual style of any game this year, and its mix of split-second platforming and generous checkpoints made me feel challenged but rarely frustrated as I gawked at all those lush visuals from start to finish. Limbo is short but incredibly well designed, and it seems like the perfect example of what a small, devoted indie developer can do with the downloadable format. Hey, how many games have you flown halfway around the world for? Before the StarCraft 2 beta launched earlier this year, I could barely remember what it was even like to play StarCraft online. But after diving headfirst into that beta and then practicing my game nearly every single day since then, I can't envision a time when I'll be tired of both playing and watching other people play StarCraft 2's incredibly deep, fast-paced, and constantly evolving competitive multiplayer. Oh yeah, that campaign is pretty good too. Before this year, I looked at Rockstar Games and I saw the best writing and the most relatable characters in the video game industry wrapped up in average, slightly clunky action games. Red Dead Redemption changed all that, preserving those best-in-class narrative aspects and marrying them to a stunning Wild West landscape and satisfying rootin', tootin', shootin' action that I never got tired of. The word masterpiece is not one to throw around lightly, but that's exactly how I'll remember the deeply personal and tragic tale of John Marston. It's simply one of the best games in years.